Michelle LaVaughn Robinson, girl of the South Side. For the past 25 years, you have not only been my wife and mother of my children, you have been my best friend. You took on a role you didn't ask for, and you made it your own, with grace and with grit and with style and good humor.
Folks, that was President Barack Obama saluting his wife, First Lady Michelle Obama, at his farewell address in Chicago. From the moment she became First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama reshaped the role into something the country had never seen before. When I interviewed her during her husband's 2008 presidential campaign, she talked about the possibility of being the first black FLOTUS, the importance of her family, and how she became the #1 supporter of her husband's decision to seek the presidency.
But at every turn, I had to sort of step back from the sort of personal sacrifice that fueled my initial response, and think more broadly, and think about the future, and think about the kind of world that I would want for my girls. I mean, at the very heart of my motivation for supporting Barack is my girls, and the kind of world that I want to hand over to them, and the kind of people that I want to lead the world. And when I think about that broader scheme, I think there's nobody in this world that I would want, nobody with the kind of character, the intellect, the capacity than Barack. So I started thinking, well, the sacrifice I'm making is nothing compared to what we can do for these kids. So here we are. You know, I've never defined myself solely by my jobs. I've had many wonderful careers, and I don't view this as a step back or a huge compromise from a career perspective. I mean, I'm doing some phenomenal things supporting this campaign, and I'm certainly not bored. So that hasn't been as much of a challenge for me. You know, I've been really spending a lot of time trying to make sure that our household stays normal. That's the thing that keeps me up at night. Barack and I, no matter what is gone on in the day, when we talk at night, our conversation is about our daughters. How are they doing? How are they feeling? Are they happy? What's going on in their world? And I think I'm like any mother in that regard, is that I'm trying to keep them grounded. And that's always a challenge. If I were working full-time at my job that paid the health care, I would be worrying about the same thing. When other black women see me, they recognize themselves in me. You know, whether it's my shape, the way I dress, the way I walk, that reaffirms us. I think about how many people fought and died and struggled and sacrificed. That's another reason why I stopped the pity party about me and this race and what it would do to us. Because basically the sacrifice that we're making is nothing compared to all those who made it possible for us to even be sitting here, breathing in and out. And I have met so many people on these rope lines who break down in tears, people who saw this history. And they have fallen to their knees, just thankful that they're alive to see the day. It's powerful.
All right, folks, so let's break that down. Angela, I will start with you. Public policy-wise, you can think about Eleanor Roosevelt, you can think about Hillary Clinton and others as well. Michelle Obama purposely said, look, y'all can deal with the politics. But she gradually, when you talk about her Let's Move initiative, when you talk about how she has changed school lunch menus, people hate it, but now you have the calorie counts in restaurants as well. And so that is going to be, I believe, 20, 30 years from now, when they look back on the Obama presidency, that issue of nutrition and obesity, she'll get the credit for it.
I think that, and what she's done with military families, causing us to focus on the impact that service has on communities around us and making sure that we're focusing on their sacrifices. I think the other thing that's important is Michelle Obama continued to rise above every criticism.
And she got attacked.
Like from the moment they started campaigning, she was the angry black woman. When she said, for the first moment in my adult life, I'm proud of this country. We all related to that. There was a rousing amen corner from Black America, and the fact that it was such a point of criticism drew this very stark contrast that only grew throughout his presidency. I think the other thing is being criticized on your appearance. And for us, it's like every time she
her hair, her
enters
face.
a room,
You had Republicans,
it's black girl
people
magic.
sending out stuff calling her monkey and ape and all that sort of stuff.
Heels.
I mean, and then to the whole point, Jason, dealing with this issue of angry black woman, Glenn Beck was out there as well.
Amazing.
I mean, she caught a level of flack that no other first lady had ever gotten.
And yet, you know what was funny? The Republicans got caught on their own bigotry when it came to Michelle. You remember the Sensenbrenner story? He was caught at a retirement home and he was making fun of Michelle Obama, and a 78-year-old white woman pulled him over and said, "I love her. You're not going to say." Working class white people love them some Michelle Obama in a way that I think a lot of people in Washington didn't understand. That military families work she did, that was North Carolina. That's why Obama did so well in Georgia. 20%, over 20% of the women in the Army are African American. When she was going out there and doing work for military families, she was doing work for black women, she was doing work for working class white women. Fantastic political and policy
I
impact.
agree with you. I mean, it's interesting because we're talking about a trained lawyer who her husband used to work for.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, and let's go back to the HBCU thing for a moment. Contrast Barack Obama's finger waving, including at Howard, by the way, I was there for that one, with Michelle Obama at Bowie State and Tuskegee. I mean, Michelle Obama very quietly, in fact, in some ways, she was his black beard.
Yes.
In other words, I mean, on the no, seriously. In terms of our communities, forget the working class white folks for a minute. In terms of our communities, she was the person whose presence sent a signal that there's some blackness in the White House. I mean, Michelle Obama was very calculated.
I
about
always said
that.
he was Uncle Phil and she was Aunt Vic. She was the first Aunt Vic.
Hold up, Lauren.
I think Michelle Obama really was incredible during these 8 years. I mean, I can't think of one thing that she did that was embarrassing, that was the wrong move,
First
that
lady
was the
with
wrong
rhythm.
tenor. Right. She
More
had
than her husband.
humor.
Who also, remember the video with LeBron James and those guys?
Right. When
she
Oh,
dunked the
she
ball.
dunked? I mean, you saw a personality from a first lady you had not
Exactly.
The Garden.
And she's
Swag.
doing
My
the
mother
Garden
loved
thing.
that.
I know. I mean, the Vera Wang and the J. Crew. To me, it was a perfect first ladyship. You know, we've had some wacky stuff coming out of the first lady's
And
office,
about
right?
to wait till
We had
Melania
Nancy
gets in.
Reagan with the
Melania's not gonna
astrology,
be the
and we
first
had
lady
some
in
great
Ivanka.
things, but
Oh,
Michelle
yeah, my
Obama
fault.
was really
That's it.
near perfect.
Okay, now I'll disagree with Greg on this whole idea that somehow the level of blackness. I mean, so I disagree with you on that one. But in terms of when she did go out, she actually spoke a lot more openly about the issue of race and legacy.
Wait, this is an important one.
You got 30 seconds.
Quick. During the convention when she said that her daughters are playing on the lawn of a house built by slaves, it was a perfect closure to something that's been hard. They've struggled to talk about race, and she did it so eloquently.
Right. Even though if I was one of them people who worked on the building, I'd have been like, I really don't want you to bring that up.
Kickstart your day at 7 and get the news you need from the perspective you want. NewsOne Now with Roland Martin. Every weekday morning at 7 on TV 1.